Folks, welcome into that betting show for February 13th, 2019. It's Wednesday, hump day. A lot to go over today. He's Teddy Severansky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at RightSideVP. Let's get right into it. Hot topics going around, Teddy. And, you know, you're a pretty big name in this industry, Teddy, but we can't get enough of you. Tell me some details here of what we're looking forward to. Gambling in the mainstream with my man, Teddy?
Yeah. We got a Showtime documentary. There's a gambling documentary. I believe it's going to be a 4-part series called Action. Quote, the chorus of human stories we will present in action will resonate far beyond the world of sports and gambling. Look, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not a big player in the documentary by any stretch, of the imagination, but there are going to be a lot of guys. Certainly Kelly in Vegas has done some stuff with sportsbookreview.com. She's one of the people that they were following around, and I'll get some B-roll in there. It should be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see what they came up with. Showtime, baby, in March. Again, I don't know the air date either, but it's coming.
No, Teddy, you know what else is coming too? Residual checks by the 10 to 25 cent level year after year after year for you there as it keeps
taking the under.
Taking the under there. Just a quick update there on a quote there that was given. The chorus of human stories we present in action will resonate far beyond the world of sports and gambling. Adds director Lou Coram. This is a subculture that reflects to an extreme the risk, reward, and uncertainty we find ourselves in everyday lives. Basically, what it's saying is, Teddy, we're going to take you through it because, as we know, I mean, every single week, every single month looks like a new state is turning on legal gambling. Las Vegas has done it for a long time. They're taking this out and saying, look, these people are here. They're doing it right now. We're going to put them on TV screen. It should be some good viewing entertainment. It's just some fun, right?
I hope so. And with any documentary, you always wonder how the information is going to get presented. I hope they don't try to super sensationalize everything and hype everything up and give a realistic portrayal. Did they actually do that? I don't know. I haven't seen the finished product. I will not see the finished product until it airs. So we'll find out together in March in this 4-part Showtime series.
I'm sure we'll have some cameras out there for Teddy as he struts down the red carpet there for a Showtime premiere. We're all looking forward to it there. We'll have some fun, but we are gamblers. And look, last night maybe didn't, we talked about the Louisville game, taking the points and, opening up at 6, ending up at 8.5. If you're on the Louisville side, you were on the right side of that game, sidewise taking the number. But, if you went for that little extra goal there and you wanted Louisville, maybe even went to bed, Teddy, 20-point lead with under 10 minutes to go. It was amazing theater to watch this unfold where it just seemed like the ball was sticking to Duke players' hands every time up court. Every loose ball went their way. Every turnover went their way. An amazing collapse at Louisville when it looked like this game was all set, ready to go. Duke pulled their starters, get ready for the next game. Not so fast, Teddy.
Yeah, exactly. This wasn't Louisville up 23 at Cameron, and now here comes the crowd, and Duke starts going nuts, and Louisville's in trouble in that regard. This is Louisville up 23 at home, midway through the second half. And look, Duke is as good or better than any team in college basketball this season. And Zion Williamson went nuts last night, but most of this, Duke played an incredible last 12 minutes of the game. But if I'm pointing fingers, hey, Louisville, have you seen a zone defense before? It's not that hard. You got to shoot to beat out of it. You got to pass well to beat out of it. And Louisville couldn't do either one. A complete meltdown / collapse for the Cardinals. They still got the money. They did not get the win. Impressive victory for the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, Jordan Nwora played very well for Louisville, chiming in with 23 points, even hitting a monster 3 late in the game that gave them a 5-point lead again. But you're talking about some basic stuff as well. It's not like a Division III team, a high school team, or even a grade school team says, man, never saw the 2-2-1 press. Most teams with good ball handlers at that level, the same way you don't see a press in the NBA because it generally doesn't work. You break the press, you get an open look, or you waste time. It was interesting watching the game because of the lead that Louisville had. Theoretically, Teddy, when we flip it over to maybe to betting the NFL or college football, if Louisville would have just ran the clock out, like if they would have just came down the court, didn't even get a shot out, a shot up and let the time expire on the clock, they would have won it. But the fact that you're turning it over with 10, 15, 20 seconds left to go, creating fast breaks was ridiculous TV.
And entertaining TV.
Entertaining,
certainly yes. If you were someone out there who laid a price with Duke on the money line, that was a thrilling comeback last night. And again, from a point spread perspective, it didn't matter. Louisville got the money pretty much wire to wire, but I'll give Duke credit, and I have to give Duke credit, but it was a little bit of a Louisville choke job. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. Two teams have to play into it for that to happen. One or two non-turnovers by Louisville, a layup by Louisville, a missed three-point shot by Duke, and that game changes hands. You needed a whole calamity of things to go the opposite direction, which it did in that game. Talking about the NBA last night, Teddy, as we talked about at the top of the show here, boy, if you're a favorite better last night in the NBA, things just weren't going your direction. The Hawks, Magic, and Celtics not only cover their side, Teddy, but also hit some money line tickets last night. Grizzlies and Jazz don't get the money line, but certainly cover in both of those games. And also with the over-unders last night, 4 of the 5 games stayed under the total. So theoretically, most people coming home from work, we like to take a favorite. We like to take an over. Didn't work out so well in the NBA last night.
No, the opposite of Monday. Of course, when all the favorites except for one came in and cashed yesterday, it was a dog day afternoon. Well, it was an evening. But certainly when we talk about Atlanta, and, the Lakers did not play well going into the All-Star break. I don't know that, you say fade a false favorite. Yeah, if you faded a false favorite in LA, you cashed last night. New Orleans certainly showed that they weren't necessarily a team that was primed to be favored, as Orlando, as an underdog, won that game by 30. And then, of course, Boston in a tough spot with everyone talking about, well, what's going on with those Celtics chemistry issues. Boston got the calls last night, and Joel Embiid was not happy about it after the game. Celtics steal one in the fourth quarter. And, of course, you talked about the Jazz. We talked about that game yesterday in a series where Utah has given Golden State all kinds of problems. They did again last night from a point spread perspective, and San Antonio didn't play good ball going into the break. They got the win at Memphis, and they shot well from three-point range, but Grizzlies came with energy last night. That was a meaningful crowd in Memphis, which isn't always the case, and especially when the lower bowl is only half full.
Yeah, a little bit later on the show today, Teddy, we'll talk about those money-burning Warriors, which continue to do so to the public. We'll see if they can hang in. We'll preview that game shortly. And also the business of the NBA, Teddy, because a lot of things that I didn't like what I saw last night from the business aspect of the trade deadline and moving forward. We'll hit that in the off-the-mic section. SBRodds.com, when the odds are changing 24/7. Check out SBRodds.com for all those latest line movements. Overnight line movers here in the association, Teddy. Bucks open up as healthy favorites, but see some changes early. Opened up offshore as between 4.5 and 5.5, dipping to as low as 3.5, but now seeing a little bit of a rebound here offshore. 4.5s are starting to show back up. 4s are starting to show with a total of 220. Any reasoning behind that, Teddy? Because the Indiana Pacers, as we know, got a little bit of help at the buyout trade / deadline there, but also losing Oladipo, playing good basketball and playing really good basketball at home.
Well, the key to the line move, I believe, has to do with the Pacers defense of late. I mean, they've been playing number 1 or number 2 defensively in multiple categories in the league over the course of the last month. So playing incredible defense down the stretch. Their last 6 games, they have been the best defensive team in the NBA by a wide margin. The market's starting to show respect for that new Pacers defensive intensity. They're showing a little bit of love towards Indiana tonight. Of course, Milwaukee coming off, they're in a revenge situation. They've been real good in those spots so far this year, coming off the Bucks. Certainly their A game is better than Indiana's, but the markets are saying maybe this little one before the All-Star break might not be Milwaukee's A game.
Double-digit line opener here for the Philadelphia 76ers, licking their wounds. It seems like Big Brother keeps on pushing little brother's head down in this environment. What is like 3 and 19 or 3 and 20, whatever it is, the Sixers in their last, numerous games versus the Celtics. But now you got to lick your wounds. You got to keep it moving. You got to go play in the Mecca against a team that's not very good. It's a short travel distance, not like they're going to pick up, Teddy, and go from, Philadelphia down to Miami or down to Texas, whatever it may be. Short trip up to New York City to play a downtrodden Knicks squad, but the line opens up double digits offshore, dips a little bit around that 9 range here. Look, the Sixers, it's a tough game last night, but the NBA is a long season. I don't think the Sixers are going to, get into a room and say, boy, oh boy, we're not going to recover from this. It's always nice when you get a layup type game, but the question is not for the Sixers to win. They have enough juice to win and cover in this one, Teddy, but interesting line movement nonetheless.
Sure, and this is, there's no pro Knicks bet in this early line move. It's all about the situation for Philadelphia coming off an intense game last night with travel against a foe that they know they can beat. They know they can beat with their eyes closed. The betting markets, at least initially, not expecting Philadelphia's A game this evening. Of course, betting the Knicks at all right now in any spot takes a leap of faith. The Knicks losing streak feels endless right now, and their losing streak at Madison Square Garden has tied the longest in franchise history.
Yeah, Knicks obviously looking forward to the offseason more than the in-season. They're sending out the season tickets with Kevin Durant in the background, getting everybody excited. So some Knicks fans is the way we were a couple years here in Philadelphia, hoping for a loss more than a win to improve that draft position. Zion Williamson's out there as well, and a nice free agent market out there. Viewing pleasure tonight, Teddy. Watch what you bet out there. Well, if you want to watch that betting show, you know where to do so right here on our YouTube channel at sportsbookreview.com. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, hit that subscribe button. 53,000 people have done so already. Every single time we go live here on that betting show, another programming here at sportsbookreview.com, you'll get the notification to come in, say hello, and view the information and the videos that we have out here. Rockets, Timberwolves, Teddy. Normally say, you know what, it's February. Yeah, we preview the Rockets a lot, but there's some history going on right here. James Harden, a little bit banged up. He will be active tonight in this game. 30 straight games of 30 points, going for 31. Rockets seem to be up here. It looks like an early market movement there, minus 3.5. Total of 231. Moneyline split 170 and plus 150 at the Target Center tonight. Teddy, the question is, number one, do we think the Rockets can get the cover? And number two, do we just pencil Harden in for 30 points tonight?
Yeah, we can pencil him in for 30. Although, let's give Houston some credit in their blowout win over Dallas. And again, it was a pretty tough spot for the Mavs coming off their own remarkable fourth quarter come-from-behind win over Portland the previous night. But in the game against the Mavs over the weekend, finally, we saw the supporting cast for the Houston Rockets step up. 4 others besides Harden got to 17 points against Dallas. And Harden, with that help, lo and behold, the Rockets win and cover. That's a good sign for Houston moving forward. All that being said, Minnesota has been as banged up at the point guard position as any team in the NBA. They're still banged up. I mean, Robert Covington's not going to play. Andrew Wiggins is, I believe he's got a flu bug.
Yeah,
I believe he is supposed to suit up tonight in theory. But Jeff Teague and Derrick Rose, 2 guys who have both been banged up. They were both available against the Clips early in the week. And lo and behold, Teague, 19 points, 10 assists. Rose, 22 points and 6 assists. And the T-Wolves with the win and cover. And there was an additional lineup change for Minnesota. Your old buddy in Philadelphia, Dario Saric, got in the starting lineup ahead of Taj Gibson, which honestly, I was like, what took him so long kind of a deal. So he responded well, 19 points, 8 rebounds, and a pair of steals. There may be a little bit of a buy sign on the T-Wolves right now. Healthy at the point guard, appropriate rotation adjustments, maybe a little bit of a buy sign on the home team.
Warriors, will you come out to play? Last night, Teddy, Warriors pick up the victory, but again, crush the souls of people holding Warrior tickets. And tonight, we look at it again today with that old dilemma we have. Say, Teddy, if I told you the Warriors were only given 3 points, oh my goodness, where do I sign up for it? But not so fast here, people. Warriors crushing their backers with Western Conference foes at a 12-22-1 clip. One of the single best teams at home cashing. Those are Portland Trailblazers out there. An interesting matchup here. Back-to-back game for the Warriors. T-Wolves out there ready to go. Teddy, it's only -3. Why don't we just blind bet the Warriors?
Well, because the Warriors have been a point spread disaster area, as you mentioned. The only role they've been good in is double-digit chalk. Every other role they've had has been a money loser all season. And yeah, they played well early. Steph Curry yesterday. We won the game with our defensive effort in the first quarter. The Jazz came back, but we set the tone early. We've been having some terrible first quarters lately, but we rectified that tonight. They were up 25-14 after one. More Curry talking about the importance of closing out before the All-Star break the right way. Quote, that week off will be nice, but we have to finish the job. We want to finish on a high night. We have to go up to Portland and get a win. So there appears to be the appropriate sense of urgency for Golden State. They're not the type of team you would think would have one of these hiccups right before the All-Star break. And they're facing a Blazers team that has not been able to beat the good teams. 1-7 straight up against the top 3 teams in the West. Although that one win did come against Golden State. Damian Lillard, quote, you want to at least split the season series with a division opponent if it comes down to home court advantage in the playoffs. That was taken away from us on Monday. So for that reason, you put a little more on it. Tough loss. They were smacked around in OKC earlier in the week on the heels of that dismal showing in the fourth quarter where they gave away a game in Dallas on Sunday. So I don't know that I love the Blazers in this spot. And I know that Golden State's been rough, ATS, but this might be a time. The attitude appears to be the right one for the Warriors in that last game before the break.
Wanted to pick your mind real quick on this because it comes up in a few sports here. And most notably, I always look at this in baseball. When you're coming up against the All-Star break, that last Sunday game where, 99% of your roster is not going to the All-Star game. They're looking to go to the Caribbean, to Las Vegas, to hang out with their buddies. Their wife planned the trip to upstate New York or wherever they're going here. But take a look in the NBA here. When they know that break's coming up after the long haul, do you take anything away from that, or maybe you get that push since they're at home, or do you think some of these teams have actually checked out at this point for the All-Star game? Anything that would ring your mind and say, you know what, I might stay away from this younger team because 6 of them are planning to go to Vegas on a charter jet in just a few days.
Yeah, and even that is not necessarily a reason to bet against a team in a given ball game. A lot of times you want to bet against them after they spent the last night and following the charter to Vegas, and then they're going to play somewhere else the next day. But it is a very unique situation. There are a handful of these, I call them inflection points during the season, where you have things that are changing from the normal routine. Sure, that happens over the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. You find teams that have been playing in one kind of rhythm and they get a little bit of time off, and then, it's slightly different. This is the type of game and the type of night in the NBA where you have to be, let's put it this way. It's not a night where I'm going to go and back up the dump truck to the betting window. You have to take some of these games a little bit lightly because the level of uncertainty and randomness is a little bit greater on this particular night than your average night during the NBA season.
There you go. That betting show. You get those little nuggets here on what to bet, what to watch out for, and little spots to bet here. Always your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. Teddy, we're going to head to a little NCAA action in the city of Philadelphia at the Pavilion tonight. Ed Cooley and the Providence Friars come in fresh off a victory. Villanova coming off a hard-fought loss, coming all the way back versus Marquette, not being able to pull the trigger in the last few moments of the game, taking a loss. Looking to rebound here. Line opened up double-digit-wise, -11. But Teddy's looking right now. Pinnacle showing -10 offshore. Chris showing -10.5. -10.5 is pretty much across the board right now. Totals at 135. Great game to watch tonight. Providence has to turn it on if they're looking to make the tournament now. Villanova looking to say, you know what? Suffered that loss after a nice run. Let's get back on the tilt. Double-digit line tonight right around in Philadelphia. What are we looking at?
I'll tell you what. I'm a big Ed Cooley fan. And when you look at Providence, this is not a great Providence team. It's been a rebuilding team all year. They got double-digit losses already. They're not one of the elite teams. And yet when you look at the stats for the season, there they are again in terms of defensive intensity, in terms of opponents' points per game, in terms of opponent shooting percentage, an opponent shooting percentage from beyond the arc. Year in, year out, the Friars excel on the defensive end of the court. And that's once again the case here in 2019. We saw in the first meeting, Nova won 65-59. They did not shoot well. And they have not shot well. Here's the thing I don't think people realize about this Villanova squad. They haven't shot better than 31% from beyond the arc in any game since their win at DePaul. They have been ice cold from three-point range. And when you're playing a team that defends the arc well, and you have to win by margin in order to cover, and you're not shooting the three-pointer well, that concerns me. All that being said, Nova should have one big edge on the offensive glass. Friars, 215th in offensive rebounding rate. That's not necessarily an area of strength. Nova's big in the paint, and even if those perimeter shots aren't falling, their ability to get second chance looks could be enough to get them in above the number.
There you go. Three games to watch tonight and watch what you bet. Also with the All-Star game coming up this weekend. I'm sure me and Teddy will take a look at the All-Star game on Friday, preview it, and get you ready and set up. Off the mic topic here, one of my favorite sections that we do have, the NBA trade deadline causing problems for teams. We talked about it last week, Teddy, as well. When you looked at the Lakers, how would they rebound? How would they play? Had a nice win against Boston, got wiped off the floor in Philadelphia, took another really bad loss last night to a low-level Atlanta Hawks team. You saw LeBron James basically dejected in the locker room saying, we're going to have to refresh. We're going to have to get back from the All-Star break, see what we can do. But then all of a sudden you take a look as well at the Pelicans, who were threatened by the NBA, Teddy, $100,000 fine per night if you're just going to sit Anthony Davis out. So he's playing. But how well is he plugged in and just looking to get to the offseason and maybe trading? Looking at value, non-values, it goes in the second half, but just the business model, Teddy, of the NBA being upset by this because some teams clearly fractured at this point, and it's not a good look.
No, but as a bettor, we like it.
True.
If you had a ticket on Orlando last night, it was pretty easy. If you had a ticket on Atlanta last night, it was pretty easy. When you find teams that are chemistry challenged, this is what you do. You bet against them. And you bet against them until proven otherwise. It's been a dismal road trip for the Lakers. And, when you look at LeBron's quote, we didn't have consistent play from all facets of the game, offensively and defensively. We jacked up coverages to start the game. In the third quarter, we jacked up a lot of our coverage again. It was always playing uphill like we've been doing of late. We've got to be a lot better. You know what that is? That's a quote of a frustrated guy that's ready for the All-Star break. And frankly, I don't blame him. The NBA season is not split in two. It's 2/3 and then 1/3. These guys need a break. Pelicans need a break. Anthony Davis. Obviously, I missed a lot of shots, a lot of easy shots, layups and stuff I normally make early in the game. But they came out more desperate. They played like they were playing for something, and they showed it. You find the teams that are coming out desperate against the teams that aren't. Those can be step-up wagers. I don't care if the league doesn't like it. I want to make money off it. And there are money-making opportunities right now betting against these teams whose chemistry was clearly affected by the trading deadline and what's happened ever since.
NBA players need a break before the trade deadline. Teddy and I don't need any break at all in that betting show. In and out in under 20 minutes, which we've done so again today for February 13th, 2019. Some good stuff to watch tonight. We'll recap the mayhem once again tomorrow on Thursday and prep you up and get you ready for that weekend of gambling. He's Teddy Savransky. Once again, give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at RightSide VP. Thanks for tuning into the show. We'll be back tomorrow on Thursday for That Betting Show.